What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bold Voices. Hope you all are having a great start to your week. So excited to have you here. Like Jay said, let's go. Let's like the stream. Let's repost it, share it. Let's get as many folks in the room as possible to join our bold conversation. As per usual, we're covering hot topics, headlines, current events, everything that's going on, a little mix of everything. So yeah, please chat with us. We love to hear from you. Please put all your bold comments, questions, feedback, thoughts in the chat. We will read through, we'll bring them up on the screen, and we'll have a lot of fun. So yeah, please chat with us. We love interacting with you. I am so excited, as per usual, to have amazing guests. I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful for them. And also, guys, if you have not already, please subscribe on YouTube. We would so appreciate it. Without further ado, I'm so excited to have with me tonight some amazing folks. We've got Madeline's back. Madeline Elizabeth, Jay, and Adam Coleman is with us tonight. I haven't seen Adam in a minute. Adam is busy, been traveling, speaking, writing, all the things. So Adam, we're excited to have you back tonight. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So yeah, guys, Adam, is there anything you want to shout out before I forget that you got coming up? Because I know we haven't seen you in a minute. So I want to give you a chance. I know you have a lot of exciting things in the works. So anything you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, the big thing is I'll be releasing a trailer for a documentary. It's about an hour long that I'm coming out with, basically about the GenSpec conference. So it talks about the transgender issue. And I think it's academic, informational, but I edited it in a way where you get to see that these people who really care aren't bigots. They have a lot of passion. There's a lot of personal tales behind it, a lot of reasons why they are fighting against this very thing. So, I gave her early showing to the people at GenSpec. They like it. So I'll be finally releasing the trailer and putting it out soon, probably just on YouTube and X. People want to watch the entire thing. And the other thing that I'm actually sort of excited about is because I get tired of the constant complaining about America and America's bad and there's always problems and so on and so forth. So I am attempting to start something called Amazing Americans. And it's just an article series that I want to try and do maybe once a week. Starting with some personal stories, and I did my first one on Monday, just personal stories about amazing Americans who impacted me, and maybe turn it into other people can kind of submit their amazing American story. So we'll see what it turns into, but so far it's being well received. People like, thank you. Like, enough about complaining about politics and stuff like that. It's nice to read a good story and bring some tears to some people's eyes, because they're like, you know what? Yeah, when I leave, get off the internet and go outside, I meet amazing people,
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've talked about that before, both of our love for storytelling and how storytelling really does bring people together and really does, I know we definitely need more positivity and feel good stories and inspiration and all of that. There's enough, it gets just really heated and tensions are high right now, and there's so much focus on that. So I love that you're doing that. I always love seeing your projects, reading your work, so I'm excited for all of that and I love it. That was part of what I like to do with my podcast interviews too, which will be returning in a couple weeks, is also the storytelling piece and just trying to do a deeper dive into what connects us, humanity and people's backgrounds, and relating to those themes that we all kind of, can relate to. And so it is. So that's lovely. I love that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Well, we have a fun little group of topics. So, it's not always so political. We'll start with a little bit of politics, but also talk a little bit of social media and TikTok. So we'll start with Trump and 2A, Second Amendment, and then move into some things coming out of TikTok, which I think is interesting. And Adam, I'm curious to hear your thoughts with, like, because you're so in the know about tech and all of that, like to hear, your thoughts on these like settlements and changes in ownership and that stuff that's going on. But yeah, so Trump and Second Amendment, Trump's comments have triggered a broader political dispute over gun rights and the Second Amendment. Some people are upset at the administration for sort of suggesting or implying that it's not okay to legally exercise your right to carry, implying that people shouldn't carry. So I have a little clip we'll watch, and then we'll kind of chat about it.
Do you agree with the assessment from some of your own officials that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist or an assassin?
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident, okay? Everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
What do you think of some Republicans saying you need to
You said that you are the
What? Oh no, did we lose Madeline? Were you guys Jay, I'm actually like particularly curious to hear what you have to say on this topic, but were you surprised by those comments from Trump?
No, not at all. So the difference is the difference in what he's talking about. Like, say for instance, they were, protesting like outside of the Whipple building in Minneapolis or whatever, the federal building. That's a protest, right? So these guys are out trying to obstruct them in their active law enforcement. And absolutely, you should not be bringing a gun down there trying to impede law enforcement. That's the big difference. This is not a protest. These guys they were actively stalking these agents, and then they're trying to obstruct their job. And so, yeah, you definitely should not bring a gun into that situation. Would I just go down and as they're conducting a raid in some building or something like that, trying to run down some drug dealer or something like, would it be wise for me to run up there with a gun and get in these officers' face? Hell no, you're gonna get smoked. What are you thinking? Are you stupid? So that's what President Trump is talking. He's not talking about like you can't have guns or whatever. Like he's pro Second Amendment. Like, I think a lot of times they get taken out of context, and I don't really care what he said on it, to be honest with you. I just care about what happens. And so, I live in an open carry state. I don't have to worry about these type of things. But the thing is like, have a little common sense. I don't celebrate this dude dying. I don't celebrate good dying either. Like, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate for the officers too, because their lives are changed forever. It's not like they're just going to be able to go back and be an ICE agent after this. Like, their life is completely changed. Like, they're going to attack them. They're going to come after them, regardless of whether the shooting was justified or not, whatever the outcome of their investigation is or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Their life is changed forever. And I promise you, they wish they didn't pull the trigger. I promise you, both those agents wish they didn't pull the trigger, but they felt that they had to in the moment. And that's why we entrust them, to do that job, because, it's tough and you have to make split-second decisions. So, yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is a tough job. And, tensions are really high right now. And we've talked a lot about the obstructing and, and all of that. But and of course, in Renee's situation and Alex, like it's tragic. It's terrible. But it is, yeah. interesting in terms of, you know, if he is able to carry, like the whole question of, should you have a gun at a protest? Like, is it okay?
The thing that I hate about this whole situation is that they're being sent to slaughter, right? They want, like, the people that are funding this, they want martyrs in this situation. They are looking for another George Floyd moment. And the people on the ground, the goods, you know, the pretties, like, they're doing it because they believe in the cause or whatever, but the people above this are looking for another George Floyd movement. They're looking for another political moment to sway things, and they're essentially sending them in there hoping for you know, one of them to get hurt. And that's the reality of the situation. It's ridiculous what's going on. And you know, obviously they're getting bang for their buck, you know, in these situations. And it's stupid. It's really ridiculous that we have politicians now telling them to bring guns down to these situations, and they're encouraging more of this. They're lining them up to get hurt. Like, it's obvious what's going to happen. I mean, you have law enforcement conducting raids, trying to get murderers, trying to get rapists, trying to get all these different types of things, and you're going to come down there with a gun and get in their way. It's going to be a bad situation. Like, I don't know what you expect. So.
Yeah. Actually, ladies first. Madam, do you want to?
I mean, I just think they're being set. I think it's a terrible position that they're being put in. And I think at the end of the day, the left can keep pointing the finger, but we should start pointing the finger at the organizers. And honestly, these ICE agents and the police, the police have been not as helpful, but the ICE agents have been yelled at. They've been things thrown at them. I mean, they can't even turn their back because there's always an agitator there. A lot more people are lucky they haven't been arrested. We're lucky a lot more accidents haven't happened. I think that at the end of the day, it's really unfortunate what's happened. But I don't think Trump ever was talking about, you know, he's always been pro-gun. I don't believe he would ever want to get rid of the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and I just wondered, I guess my question is like, was that surprising considering he has been so, you know, pro Second Amendment, and was this sort of like a deviation in different types of comments than he would have made in the past on his, you know, pro 2A stance?
So I think I have a lot of thoughts here.
Go for it. Dig in.
So first part is, I've said this the longest time. Trump is not the most eloquent person with explaining stuff in great detail. He's a soundbite guy, right? Not good. It could have been better. It's terrible. You know, he speaks in a very short form and non-eloquent way, which some people really like. The problem is he's not saying this in a way where people understand the context of what he is talking about. He's saying, much like what Jay was saying, it's not good that he showed up with a gun and a bunch of ammo as he is not protesting, as he is playing as an authority figure on the street, interfering with what ICE is doing, right? So that is ultimately what he is saying. But idiots and reactionaries online, whether they're on the left or right or whoever, they're listening to the soundbite and removing all context of what he is talking about. And so they're making this, and once again, falling for leftist traps. They're making this a gun issue. This is not a gun issue. This is an agitation issue. This is a insurgency issue. And my disappointment with the administration is, why did it take Cam Higbee uncovering this stuff for Kash Patel to open up an investigation? Now, granted, if this is any other administration, Cam Higbee opening this up would yield nothing from the FBI, right? So at least some kudos to Kash for actually doing something about it now that it was revealed. But no one's calling this what it is. At least no one in the administration, no one with some sort of authority. They are moving like an insurgency. They are acting as in a communist revolution. No one is using these particular words or strong words to use. but there's a backing to it. They're operating. This isn't neighborhood watch. So the left has been able to craft narratives around this entire thing to soften the blow, as if these are just concerned people who live in the neighborhood who really just don't like ICE being there. No, these are paid agitators. These are people who are within the government, which should be very concerning that the lieutenant governor of the very state is part of a signal group, not even a part of, she's an administrator for the signal group that is instructing people to interfere with law enforcement. That should be highly concerning. If this was Donald Trump Jr. operating in this fashion, you know what would happen, right? And so we should be very concerned if we saw some sort of politician, which Donald Trump Jr. is not a politician, so we should be even more concerned that any politician is part of this particular event where they are stalking police officials so that for the explicit instruction to interfere with what they are doing. And that is something that, one, on its face is illegal. Two, they are operating as an insurgency. They're operating in a 24/7 manner. They have zones, they have grids, they have manuals, right? So this isn't organic. So when we listen to people try to make this as this is just people reacting to them coming and arresting people and they're outraged that their neighborhoods. No, many of these people are not even from Minnesota, right? So we have to, the administration needs to do a better PR war when it comes to this. They need to use stronger words, but more poignant words as to what this actually is. Because right now they're not making the case. And what they're doing is falling into the traps. The real thing that I would have done, I wouldn't have sat down writing a letter to Tim Walz hoping that he'd change his mind. That's a weak position. Donald Trump should have federalized the National Guard. Just point blank, because you already know what's about to happen. Because if he had done that, would this man have been killed? Probably not. You can't, when you have agitators who are organized in this fashion, you can't pretend like they're just your mom around the corner who's, just saying a couple harsh words to some police officers. No, that is not what is happening here. They have the agitators, the communists, which, by the way, they're walking around holding socialist and communist flags as they march around the streets. They're effectively owning Minneapolis. They've sectioned off the city. They're stalking citizens in cars, and intimidating them, asking them to show ID to see who they are. Are you with ICE? Accusing people. So that's what they've turned the city into, because the federal government refuses to get involved and actually show a force of strength. It took for them to bombard into a church for them to finally arrest some of these people, when many of them are doing things that are highly arrestable. So yes, you should have sent in the National Guard. Absolutely, you should have federalized it. I don't care what CNN has to say, because no matter what you do, CNN is not going to like it. What matters is what's going to happen on the ground. What's going to happen on the ground is that an ICE agent isn't going to have to die because someone took it too far. A protester, which is not a protester, an agitator, doesn't have to die because they think they're, being Mother Teresa, saving some poor innocent brown person from going back to their homeland, right? So you stop a lot of this nonsense by showing strength, and they're pretending as if they have no power. So, the thing that I liked about Trump 2.0 administration was that they were ignoring the noise of the left and what they say on NBC and CBS and all this other bullshit. They were ignoring that, and they were just doing the thing they were supposed to do. Tom Ullman was leading the charge, and they were breaking down doors and actually doing the very thing that we voted for and that they're supposed to do. What I'm seeing in this situation is allowing them to turn Minneapolis into a war zone and doing nothing about it. And until Tim Walz, for whatever reason, probably some sort of pressure from somewhere, decide to finally let some state police to come in, because the mayor gets to say, hey guys, stand down and do nothing and let your city be ransacked by crazy leftists. So now there's some sort of order that is happening because of state police. It shouldn't have come to this. So now we had 2 people that died. and they were part of I would call them insurgents. But we had 2 people that died. 2 American citizens that died. Didn't have to. We
Mhm.
had ICE agents who were injured. Didn't have to be. All of this could have been squashed a while ago. So that's my disappointment with all this.
Yeah. I mean, this was a conversation like we've, been having the past couple weeks, and we were all pretty much on the same page with that as well. In terms of, needing to make a stronger stance and having the National Guard come in and just getting the situation under control. And it's, yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? One quick thing. This reminds me of, and I applauded Trump when he did this. This reminds me when he said, I'm going to have the National Guard come into DC and get this crime under control.
Mhm.
No, people are going to die. You know what happened? The city was safe. And
Mhm.
everyone stopped talking about it because nothing fucking happened. The same fucking thing should have happened. Excuse
Right.
me. I'm cursing.
And it was the same response. Like, I mean, the same response from the left was, right, government overreach and like, taking away our rights and whatever. It's not a democracy and so it is a similar comparison for sure. What you're saying. Yeah. But okay, in terms of Trump's comments, it sounds like you don't feel like he's an ally for gun control legislation. He's not changing his stance, when it comes to that. What about, so basically a politician can be pro Second Amendment while saying some people shouldn't carry guns in certain situations, potentially.
Well, to say that it's not wise and to say that I want it illegal are 2 separate things.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
say if Trump says, I don't think people should carry guns. It doesn't mean the next thing he's going to do is an executive order to overthrow the Second Amendment. Like,
Yeah.
Those are 2 separate things. So, what someone says and what someone does are 2 very different things. I care about what someone does.
Yeah. And that's basically, I guess, in terms of playing devil's advocate and just like throwing out all of the different sort of like things that have been said on this today and kind of like the gamut of where people are going with this. It's just kind of right. Exactly. It's like, what do we think he meant? Does this change anything? Whatever.
Well, it's like the 5-year-old, right? The 5-year-old kid, right? The left likes to pretend that they care about this kid because they know that we care about it. They know that we would take offense if ICE actually like was running down 5-year-olds and stuff like that. They know that hurts us, right? We don't like that, right? But the story was completely false or whatever. The father was running and the kid got left, and the ICE agents were actually trying to help the kid out or whatever. But the thing is like they will take these narratives and they run with it because they know that we don't like it. Us as conservatives, we don't like these things and like the Second Amendment thing or whatever. Like they're going to take it and run with it because they know that it bothers us. Because most conservatives are pro 2A. Most conservatives don't like to see toddlers being run down in the street, and so that we take offense to that. But it's not actually what's going on. It's not actually the truth. They just know that it irks us, and so they run with it.
I do think it sounds like today, though, there are some conservatives who are upset about his comments or, asking these same questions that we're discussing. You don't know, Adam? You don't think so?
I mean, this is one of those things in about 72 hours, they'll never mention it again and they'll forget it even happened. Like, I really don't care if reactionary people online are going to overreact to a quick comment that he made. Now, if the man sits down and says, I'm putting together Congress and Senate so we can change the Second Amendment, by all means, conservatives, be outraged. But the man made a comment that was quickly taken out of context. So you can be paranoid that Donald Trump is going to do the opposite of what he has ever done. Yes. Okay. Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. That makes a lot of sense. How do you guys feel about, Alex Preddy was allowed to have the gun, right? How do you feel about situations in terms of the Second Amendment and these tense situations like protests, and I know obstructing and like is a whole other story, but in terms of possession and carrying a gun to a situation like that.
Well, so I used to be in the U.S. Coast Guard before I joined the Army, and we had a boarding officer that boarded a boat of Hell's Angels, right? And so one of the things we ask is are there any guns on the boat or any weapons or anything before we board the boat or whatever? It's not, they don't have to have to announce it or whatever, but like it's a good idea if you announce it because we have guns and we're on your boat or whatever, and like it just makes the situation a lot worse. Well, the Hell's Angel pulled out a Desert Eagle 45. He didn't announce it, but in that moment, like completely intense, like what is this guy gonna do? And he was doing it to F with the officer. He was doing it to fuck with them. But the thing is like, you know, when you have a gun and when you don't know what somebody's intentions are and that you see the gun or whatever, like it intensifies things. It's just, it's human nature because that thing can do really bad things. And so, you know, in terms of like bringing it to protests and stuff like that, you have to be careful. You know, like if you're gonna go down and get in people's faces and get in ICE agents' faces and stuff like that, and you're gonna expect a good outcome when you're carrying a gun, I just don't understand the logic behind that. We're human beings, and they have to go home at the end of the night too. And if you threaten them, you know, they have a certain authority to protect themselves and to protect people around them. And so, you know, sometimes that situation doesn't just announce itself. It happens in a split second.
Yeah.
And from what I saw in the video too, is the one agent grabbed the gun, somebody yelled gun. The other agent couldn't see what his hand was doing. He had his hand down at his hip. And that's what I saw. That's where I think he made the judgment call. I don't think it was the right call, but I don't think it was homicide. I don't think it was murder. I think he thought he was reaching for a gun. Somebody else yelled gun. And so he saw what he was doing. And that's when it happened. So don't go to these situations with a fucking gun. You're crazy. Like, it's just, you know, it's just stupid. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, and like you said, it's a very, so much can happen so quickly, and people don't know if their life is at, you know, what's going on, and if there's misfiring or like who, you know, and then a lot can happen. So yeah, it's a shame for sure.
If I could say, my least favorite thing to do is Monday morning quarterback police incidences. It's the most annoying, aggravating thing because it becomes people doing slow motion still frames about, see, at this point, this wasn't here. All of this stuff is happening in milliseconds. And I would venture to say that most of the loudest people have never been in a position where they face any sort of real danger, especially around guns, right? And so, not to say that I faced a bunch of it, but I'm empathetic and I can understand how someone who works at a dangerous job, so much so that they have to carry a weapon because they deal with dangerous people, literally their job is to arrest criminals. They don't know what they're about to walk into. And so, yes, if that was me, I would be just a slightly bit on edge because the people that I'm dealing with, especially if I get agitators, follow me inside and outside of work all day long, banging pots and pans as I'm trying to sleep outside of hotel rooms, then yeah, I'd be a little bit on edge about someone yelling gun. And that split second to make a decision, because if you don't make that decision, that person could shoot you. Right. That is always running through someone's head as an officer and an authority figure, because these are real things. Cops die all the time because someone else has a gun besides them, and criminals don't respect the law. So when people are, what I find is that when it suits them, they want to give the benefit of the doubt towards the person who was shot. Every time. That this person would have never done anything. So they always want to give that person the benefit of the doubt. What I'm saying is, cops don't go around looking to kill people. It's not a thing. And guess what? If it was a thing, they're not a cop for very long and they go to jail. Like, they're the most over-scrutinized, one of the most over-scrutinized positions, and rightfully so. How many professions do you know where they walk around with cameras on their bodies to see what they do all day? Like, I don't know too many professions. I'm sure they exist. But, like, they're being filmed constantly as far as how they interact with people. And overwhelmingly, it shows that they are professional. And actually, the people they're dealing with are the crazy people.
Right.
Like, so when people want to give the benefit of the doubt to the guy who got shot because he was concealed carrying, well, you don't know what would have happened if he didn't do that, because he's already fighting with the cops. And if an ICE officer was shot, the first thing they would say is, well, you know what? They deserve to get shot. But you know what? I'd rather, if I was an ICE agent, I would rather have to deal with the repercussions of shooting a person in response to them actually having a firearm. It's not like the man didn't have a firearm, by the way. So we're pretending that the man didn't have a gun on him. We're pretending that the man wasn't doing something that was destructive, that was actually illegal. We're pretending that the guy wasn't actually playing as an authority figure in the streets. Tell me, how many times have you gone out in the street and played crossing guard with people in directing traffic? Who does that? Well, yeah. if you're an insurgent who is taking control of a sector of the city, then you feel you have an authority because the cops are sitting on their hands because the mayor has told everybody to stand down. And guess what? That guy feels he is an authority figure, so he carries a gun to influence it. And I just got done saying, people like him are driving around following people, telling them to show me your ID. How many of them are armed? So, we've made this so much more about the thing that it not is. We've made this about two-way, and whether you can conceal carry and all this other bullshit, as if the man was just walking down the street going to the corner store and suddenly was shot by the cops because he simply had a gun on him. That is not what happened here. And everyone knows it, but they're pretending that this is not the case.
Right.
We have some great comments in the chat. Tony, first of all, thank you for reposting the stream. Dave says, I think lots of people carry to protest and you just don't know it because they don't use them or bring attention to themselves. Virginia, I said the same thing. Why would you take a gun to a protest just because you have the right to carry it? And yes, at the end of the day, LEO, law enforcement officers have the right to protect themselves and others. The guy had no business bringing a gun with him, period, full stop.
Those are my homies showing up in the chat.
What's up, homies? Thanks for showing up in the chat.
Yeah, my friends on X.
We love it. We love hearing from you. Yeah, great points.
Well, there's a slight correction, and I agree with her statement. But a slight correction. We have to lose the vocabulary of protests. None of this is a protest. We have to lose that vocabulary. These aren't protesters. These aren't protests. We know what a protest looks like. You stand there with a stupid sign that has something clever, right? That's what a protest is. A protest is you walking in silence or chanting stuff, right? It is in an organized fashion, right? You're just showing that you're upset. That's what a protest is. This is not a protest. This is an insurgency, right? This is a counter force that is highly organized, funded by foreign entities. Like that. This is what's going on. And might I add, we gotta call it what it is. They are being funded by the CCP. Like I had this, not really discussion, but this response to someone in my comments once, where they were saying, no, this is organic. It is not organic if the CCP is funding it. I'm sorry, it's not. Yeah. If something is happening in your apartment complex and the neighbors want to get together and do some sort of neighborhood watch, that's organic. If something outrageous happens in your neighborhood and all of a sudden people come out of their houses and they want to do something about it, that's organic. When you have agitators and leftists who are part of organizations that exist from all over the country that decide to congregate and bounce all over the country, all of that takes money. Everyone knows that there are traveling protesters. Everyone knows that there's a huge amount of money that is going in and out of these organizations. So like this is not a organic, people are upset because they really care about the illegals in their neighborhood. No, these are organized agitators who have specifically said that Minneapolis is their battleground because I can't remember where exactly it was. I think it was a video that was circulating. They were making the point that the Civil War wasn't fought everywhere. And that's ultimately the point they're trying to make. They're trying to make specific places battlegrounds because it's not like ICE only exists in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? ICE is all over the country doing their job.
Yeah.
So why Minneapolis? Because they've chosen Minneapolis because they have enough support in Minneapolis. And actually in the state of Minnesota, they have the governor, lieutenant governor, they have the mayor of the city, and God knows how many state reps who are all behind it in full support. And probably many of them, actually, not probably, they are in those ICE watch chats, which the FBI is now investigating. So, like, these are not protests. This is an insurgency. This is a rebellion against the federal government to have a communist revolution, to dismantle what we care about in this country, to make us think that we have bad boy cowboys running around with guns, snatching people. I got people who think that they're just walking up to random people, snatching them because they look illegal. That is how propagandized people have become, because it makes no fucking sense as to why someone would do that. Like, it's just illogical. Even the Nazis knew where the Jews lived. They didn't have to guess, right? They knew where they were. They went there and they got them. Like, this is, no one's walking around guessing in a multinational nation with people of all different likes. You mean they're just walking around and saying, hey, you look brown. Hey, you look illegal, and just grabbing them? It's just asinine, but people legitimately believe this. And I've heard this. I don't know how you combat that. I really don't.
What do you guys think of the criticism about Kristi Noem right now and her leadership related to this? Like, do you think that she's done a good job? Could have done better?
I'll let Madeline go.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Well, I think Stephen Miller kind of blew the lid when he kind of disagreed with, obviously, the firing of the head of ICE, and I think it kind of showed the administration not knowing really what to say, what to do. I think Kristi Noem, I don't know if she in this case, I don't know what she did. I think the truth of the matter is we should have federalized it. I said it the last time I think I was on this show. We should have sent in the National Guard a week or two ago when this all began, and we wouldn't have had the loss of life. Every day that goes by, it just the momentum continues to build. Buses continue to come in, they continue to organize, and honestly, every political leader, and I've said this before, whether it be Omar, Walz, I don't understand why we're allowing them to continue to say the things they're saying. There's multiple laws that I have put out on my ex. I have spoke with many lawyers. I don't understand why we have not arrested, said indictment. A letter's not good enough to me. These people they're egging on the agitators. They're making it acceptable. And then Tim Walz says, I've never been so proud of Minnesotans, and I've never been so proud to be from Minnesota. How can you be proud of this? This is not what my country looks like. This isn't the America I know, and then it's just, I don't think this is a Kristi Noem problem. I think it's so far beyond that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's so far beyond that. I think we needed to have Trump send it in. And Tim Walz bringing out the National Guard, he had him handing out coffee. Like, what the hell? If Trump would have sent him in and it was under his ruling, then it would have gone down a lot different. And like I said, I lived it in LA. I've experienced it, which by the way, I'm really sorry. My power keeps going out. I don't know what is going on here. That's what's going on. I'm like, what? Am I living in a weird thing? But that's the whole thing is I think that when I saw the National Guard come in, it really changed everything during the BLM riots here in 2020. And you saw a sense of relief. And when Tim Walz was like, okay, well, we'll activate them, the National Guard, it didn't do anything. He had them handing out fucking coffee. So That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they're what they're doing is they're testing the resolve of the DOJ. They're seeing how far they can push it. You have politicians in Arizona, politicians all over the place saying that you should bring guns to these protests or whatever. Like they're testing them because they are failing to act. They are failing. They didn't federalize. They didn't bring in the National Guard immediately. They are not. Apparently, Don Lemon is too untouchable, right? They can take the low-level people, but Don Lemon is untouchable. So you're definitely not going to take down the governor for being involved. You're definitely not going to take down the governor for being involved in the frauds, for encouraging, more or civil discourse. Like you're not going to take down these people. And so now they're testing them. Now they're on the hook to act, and they're not doing it. They're not accomplishing it because President Trump is focused on the economy. He's focused on all these other things. And so he's, the thing is like, you can't ignore this thing. It's not going away. The information moves way too fast, and they're winning in that respect. And this is only going to get worse come summertime. It's frigid out in Minneapolis. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when it's 80 degrees out? They are absolutely going to go nuts in that city. And I'm telling you, from a person that grew up there, and I had friends that had their businesses burned down and stuff during the BLM riots. The thing is like, it's going to explode. And I don't know what they're doing. It's not going to get better by continuing to ignore it. It's not going to get better. The people that are funding it are getting a great bang for their buck. They are getting exactly what they want. They're getting the riots. They're getting a lot of visibility. They're getting, the heat is on the administration. That's exactly what they want. And so this doesn't get better with time. Continuing not to act, continuing not to come down on them is only making it worse. And I just don't know what they're doing. Honestly, like
Bondi's sending letters and going on Fox, doing Fox hits. Cash and Bondi do more Fox hits than anyone I know, and I admit that I do Fox hits, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like,
yeah, and the whole thing with her doing the conference with Miriam Adelson, like it's really a bad look. Like, what are you doing? You have a city that is ready to explode, and you're doing these, whatever hate speech conferences. Like, what in the hell is your focus? Like, you should be up there. Like, you should be involved. Like, you should not be in Miami doing speeches at these conferences. Like, I just don't get like why he's sticking with her, honestly. Like, and now it's almost too late to replace her. So I don't know. She was on the line for a job, and I believe that there's donors or what is standing between Bondi losing her job and not. And I think Adelson doubled down and put her front and center on the stage and basically told Trump, if you want my $250 million a quarter from me, then you're gonna keep Bondi, because Bondi is going to deliver what they want, and that's the going after anti-Semitic and people and whatever else she's claiming she's gone after. But again, I haven't seen any real action from Bondi yet.
I feel like that's a consistent thing that comes up every stream, Madeline.
I'm gonna, at this rate, I'm just gonna take a bunch of our clips and I'm just gonna say this is episode. I'm on season 5, episode 6. For waiting on Bondi to hold someone accountable.
We can do a whole Bondi, like whatever.
Madeline just saying Bondi. Thank you. Yeah,
that would be pretty badass. I like it. Well, speaking of Tim Walz, last thing on this topic, and then we'll move on. is just a little clip again of, you know, it's just like this whole like, yeah, Trump de-escalate, like let's turn down the volume, and then he continually says things that to me like escalate things. So
we have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota. And there's one person who can end this now.
Tim
Yeah.
Walz. Tim Walz can end it now.
instead of the constant
Did you
comparison,
ever bring Anne Frank into the mix? Like, where the hell did that come from?
I'll
Yeah.
say things that never happen for 1,000. Like, there's no kid hiding in the house. Like, kids could care less, unless their parent is telling them whatever. Like, there's really no reason for them to be scared. He's full of shit. But yeah, it's just he's not toning down the rhetoric. He's ramping it up. He's making people more. You know, the left is more emotionally, you know, motivated or whatever, and so he's ramping them up even more, and so now I don't get it. Like, I don't know, like, you're gonna have to hold this guy accountable if you want this to end, and I just don't see them doing that, and it's gonna get worse. In summertime, watch, they're gonna burn down both those cities. They're gonna burn down Minneapolis and St. Paul. I guarantee it. I just don't see this ending any other way.
I think we should compare it to J6 too. Again, you know, we had J6ers in jail for months, almost a year. People had to spend thousands of dollars. Families worried they're never going to get out because they were all sent to solitary confinement. And politicians were like, no, you know, they're criminals. These agitators are criminals. Why are we not just bringing them all up and then throw them in jail? They're all getting out on bail. And I said that they're all getting released on OR bonds, and they're back out on the streets before my tweet sees 2 impressions. So I'm like, what is, like, then these ICE agents and the police, they don't feel like there's any reason to arrest them, because if they're just going to keep getting released, then at the end of the day, nothing is going to change. We're not showing any signs of strength in our own country. And that's my big problem.
Well, Tom Homan and them, and Tom Homan went there today, and I guess the outcome was they're only going to go after the big criminals and stuff like that. But coming here illegally is a crime. That it's it's a felony. Like, I don't get like don't relent on that. Don't give any ground on that. Like, I don't.
But the agitators don't care. There were ICE agents outside of a child predator. And we have it, the news, I don't know if it was Fox, CNN, MSNBC, or if it was a local news, but somebody caught it and they were like telling the agitators, you guys are protecting a pedophile. And then the agitator, of course, screamed back, you're protecting a pedophile. It was like a back and forth thing. But the biggest thing was, I don't understand, like, half of these people, they're not just going, it's not like they're going after children. They're going after criminals, number one. And so nobody really knows when ICE goes into these cities who they're targeting. But of course, then when they see all these like Mexicans start running, hiding in houses, of course they're going to ask. It's like when you go to when you go to serve a warrant and all these, you know, people run out the back door, that guy running out the back door may not even been the person they're there for. But if he knows he's in trouble, he's going to run. And I feel like ICE is being put in a really hard position.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everybody saying, like, you have to have a show force. Tom Homan saying, oh, well, listen, we're only going to go after the murderers and the rapists, I think is backing down. Maybe he's backing down because he's not getting adequate support and no one wants to say it. ICE shouldn't have to fight people so they can do their job. They shouldn't have to be in that position. No one should be in that position. If you're a cashier, would you want to fight people as you're trying to get into your store so you can ring up people? Like, no one wants to fight individuals so they can go to work. Nevertheless, fight individuals so you can take some of the worst people off the streets and out of our country. One thing, and I think some of this is policy as far as, or not even policy, decisions. Trump needs to take stronger decisions and just not care. Same thing he did in DC, he can do in Minneapolis. The other thing is, I feel like the Trump administration, and maybe the right, is losing the war, and they're losing the soundbite war. They're using language like protesters in protests, right? They're not using language like insurrectionists or insurgents, right? Actually, I would go for insurgents because they've already labeled people on the right as insurrectionists, right? They've already hijacked that word. So, you know, let's hijack a different word and a word that is accurate. These are insurgents, right? So we need to take control of the narrative. But the problem is, it's hard to take control of the narrative when we have such weak narrative control. This is a propaganda war. Leftists are masterful when it comes to propaganda. We call them agitators and not murderers because all they do is agitate until a crisis happens and they use that crisis against you, right? So Renee Good, whether she knew it or not, he is a pawn in the agitation. And if she becomes a sacrificial lamb, if she dies, great. We can use her name and drag her body around the news and to use her image to attack our adversaries. They don't care about her. They care about the revolution. They care about the cause at the end. So these are highly ideological people. I'll go as far as saying these people are closer to the Taliban than they are to being to actual liberals. And another thing, I know people are going to disagree with me. I know that not every Democrat is an insane person who agrees with this shit. Because the Democrat position, which I used to be, was in support of getting rid of people who should not be in this country. Everyone agreed to that. This wasn't an issue. This was a bipartisan, well, duh, kind of thing. The argument was, you're not doing enough. And the argument was, yes, I am doing enough. Right? Who can get rid of more people? Now, the moderate Democrats are silent. Notice all the people we talk about are progressives or leftists. We don't talk about any blue dog Democrats. Rarely. We don't talk about any moderates.
We love Fetterman around here. I don't know.
We do. We do. Yes.
I'm sorry. You know what? Fetterman is one. I'll give you that. I'll give you Fetterman is one, which actually really shocked me.
Yeah.
But anyways, Fetterman is one. But he's basically on an island and he gets shit for it.
Yeah.
But he gets shit for it because the rest of them are cowards. They've let the party go to the fringe. And that's why I left it, because I saw where this was going. I saw that they were letting the communists speak for the party. Now you see Kathy Hochul go up on stage and applaud Mamdani as Mamdani's audience boos her like it's a humiliation ritual. Like this is what the Democrat Party has turned into. They've turned into an anti-Trump party that says any person that opposes Trump is my friend. And I'm sorry, communists are never your friend. They're just not.
Just real quick, I also want to say it's also getting easier for Democrats and left wing to win because Republicans are cowards and they're worried about midterms because we keep putting them. Trump keeps getting put in bad positions. Kristi Noem was put in a bad position because we didn't federalize and move forward with the National Guard, right? The House is a great example. Senate, great example. They keep voting with Democrats. The last 6 to 8 bills that have passed, they have voted with Democrats. It's been absolutely insane to me. The far right is moving very far right to where we are the demographic. We're going to probably talk about that next, but it's more of where I get in trouble. But it's like a lot of people are going to go with one group of people and everybody else is bad if you don't believe what they believe. And that's where the far right's going. You're either for Israel and Israel first before your own country, or you're not. And I think the far right that's going to get us in trouble too. But the bottom line is we have a lot of Republicans right now that are afraid because they know midterms are coming up. So they are voting with Democrats because they're trying to win independents. They're trying to win or shift over the Democrats that they can get. It's crazy.
They're going to get steamrolled too. They're
Yeah.
going to get steamrolled by taking that approach. But the other thing is too is like back to what Adam was talking about. When you have moderate Democrats, they still vote with the radicals, right? They're still voting like if and not let's just pretend that we can move Angela to Minneapolis, right? A Democrat with common sense. She's probably going to vote for Tim Walz. Like that. Let's be honest. Most Democrats are going to vote for him regardless. And so like, how do you, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. It's like this never ending thing that we're going to be in now, this never ending cycle, this pendulum swinging back and forth, like super hard. And like, it seems like only the radicals are going to get support anymore. Like they're going to, well, it's fine that they're moving some of the swampy people out, right? It looks like Chuck Schumer is going to get moved out or whatever. Like some of these other people are going to lose, but then they're going to move in the radicals. They're going to move in AOC and stuff like that. And people are going to vote for them regardless. And so I don't see this getting better, to be honest with you. Like I really don't have a good outlook for 2028. Like I don't know where we're going as a country, but it's not in a good direction. And I don't see it getting any better. I don't see the momentum going in a positive direction. Yeah, President Trump is doing a lot of positive things, but you see stuff like Minneapolis imploding. And when people who are looking to undermine our country recognize that they can do these things, they can manipulate these situations and get this huge outcome, I see it getting a lot worse, and it's just I don't have a good outlook. It's really I hate to be like I'm almost ready to swallow that black pill because it's just I don't see how we come out of it, like with Republicans not supporting Republicans not going for conservative things, and then with the inaction of the DOJ, it's really disheartening.
Well, I hate to end this conversation on that note, but we'll try to keep hope alive. And I appreciate all of your input on this topic for sure, on all of these topics. Okay, so I want to move on to TikTok. The news, which is funny, I was going to talk about Snapchat last week, and then we ran out of time. But it kind of same. TikTok reached a settlement just before they were supposed to have a trial. This happened with Snapchat last week already. So it's sort of, and then you've got Meta and YouTube coming up next. It's sort of setting a new precedent related to the lawsuit claims that TikTok's platform design intentionally fosters addictive use and contributes to mental health harm in young users. In either settlement, Snap or TikTok, we don't know the details because they haven't been publicly disclosed. And so basically there's a 19-year-old plaintiff who alleged months of addiction, depression, anxiety, body image issues, suicidal thoughts tied to the app's algorithm and design. It's a tricky one, right? Because I feel like there is research out there to support, mental health concerns related to social media, especially on young people. But there's a lot of components to it that make it sort of complicated. But this is a pretty big thing going on right now, like I said, because Snapchat was kind of first, and now this, and then Meta and YouTube are up next. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So just questions about the validity. And I know, Adam, you're very tech savvy. So some of the things there, like in terms of the research, is in terms of the design, like variable rewards, infinite scroll, social comparison loops, and that mechanisms like that do increase compulsive use, especially because young people are still developing impulse control, is kind of a thought. There's also legally, children are a more distinct group, where there's more of a responsibility to do no harm to young people. And then there are mental health correlations with social media, so that there is, has been a rise in anxiety, depression, self-harm in teens during this sort of smartphone, social media era. But yeah, it's hard to, I would say, prove like a direct causation or correlate, right? So it's complicated. And then what's the personal responsibility, the parental control aspect? So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this, if you've heard much about it, but it's kind of going on right now with these settlements and what's going to happen. And they've been settling rather than wanting to go to trial.
So the settlement is just a financial settlement, but there's no requirement in changing anything, essentially.
I don't know for sure the details. I don't know the details on that for sure, to be honest. But
Okay.
because they said that they're not disclosing what the terms of the settlement are, is my understanding.
I mean, that to me sounds like we paid them to go away.
Yeah, right.
Not like, listen, guys, we messed up. We're gonna change things. We're gonna make a safer place for everyone. This is all right. We'll pay you, but everyone has to shut up. None of the details are disclosed. Well, this is just a business expense at this point, and we can keep going on and making billions of dollars. That's what this sounds like to me.
Sounds
But
like-
as far was that?
Sounds like big pharma.
Yeah, exactly.
From what I understand, the Pentagon has an entire group of people that work at the Pentagon, and all they do is study the algorithms, and they work on algorithms. And I have a friend named Haley who I should send her your information. Angela, you should have her on because she the Pentagon and she studies data, and she's an analyst, but all she studies is these algorithms and how it's affecting children. And it kind of reminds me, she won't go far into why and all the nuance around it, but she talks about what she's seen in the algorithms and whatnot. And what I find the most interesting about that is it's kind of like when you hear that the Pentagon has a budget for movies. Like, why do they want to know? What are they trying to cook up with the algorithms for children? And so, yeah, she'd be a great person to send you your way and ask questions to on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm also curious. I wanted to talk to Tiffany Savage because she has a teenage daughter about this. I'm curious for, parents of kids who are on social media, sort of the effects that they've seen in their children. And because I don't have a child, but I mean, just from my experience of working with young people, like I can see it, in the research and the things that I've read, but
I mean, if you look at me at 13 and you look at 13-year-old girls in crop tops and like wearing Sephora makeup and whatnot, they also said a lot of young girls like as of all the makeup they're wearing and all these things that they're doing, that they're going to look a lot older actually as they get older. And they're saying how millennials, it's funny, they're saying millennials are looking younger than the Gen Z and the alphas coming up. And people are like, why? And I truly believe it's because we weren't putting on all this makeup. Like, I didn't even learn my mom and dad, they were like, I never wore makeup like that in high school. Like, it was like not a thing. These girls in like 13 are wearing like full face, like makeup, like they're going on TV. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I would never want my kid also, like, I think I said this last time, like, I don't want my kid in a bikini at the age of 6, like at the pool with her friends dancing. Does that mean from like the time my little girl is like growing up, she's just always going to be on TikTok and like she gets to be in all these outfits? And you can control it when she's with me, but like, what if when she's out with her friends, am I supposed to tell her friends like, hey, take their phones, she's not allowed in TikToks? Like, I can't do that to her.
Right.
So it's like, you're putting parents in a bad spot because parents can't police their children every step of the way. They have to teach their children, obviously, to make the right choices and, those calls. But if every kid is getting on in crop tops, dancing, then why would she think that there's anything wrong with it?
It's normalized, right? Like that's just,
And it becomes harder for girls. So girls are more social. And I would go as far maybe saying they're more conformist. So they really care about the social dynamics, which is why to bully a girl, you have to ruin her reputation. right? You have to make her disgusting socially. To ruin a boy, you got to beat him up, right? That's usually how it goes, right? Girls are more in touch with their feelings and they're aware of their social surroundings, which is a good thing in many cases. I have lots of female friends who can see stuff that I can't see or I didn't pick up. They're just more socially aware. But because of that, social dynamics are really important. So if you have a scenario where all the parents are just letting their 13-year-old girls go on whatever they want, and you're the only parent that's not, it becomes a sticking point because she sticks out in the social circle. Because when she goes to school, she has no idea what they're talking about that viral video or whatever. And so it does make it more difficult. I have a son. I sort of dealt with technology for him in different ways, curbing his time of like playing games and stuff like that when he was with me. But especially with social media, I'm like, you're not getting on it. Like, you're just not getting on it.
Snapchat.
And it was now Snapchat. He started using in his late teens, and I was just like, because he was living with his mom. I would have him on weekends and stuff, and his mom was allowing to have it. And I'm obviously, your kid, so like he's not getting into stuff, right? He's not that type of kid. He's not, so when he's 16 and he's on Snapchat, I wasn't necessarily fighting him on it, right? But I was always educating him. One, I told him, don't go on Twitter. I said, do not get on Twitter. Trust me, do not get on Twitter. So I think even to this day, he's not on Twitter. He's 21 now. So, or he's 20. Yeah, that flies. But just when it comes to the algorithms, because that was kind of your original point to bring up, the algorithms are enticing young people, tricking young people, and things like that. Actually, before I go into that, I wanted to make a side note because you were talking about girls and makeup. I 100% agree with that. If girls are putting on makeup so young, that means that they're putting on, I'm sorry, but makeup, modern makeup is filled with toxins, right? And your skin is an organ. So you're putting toxins in your skin. It's going into your body, right? It's ruining your skin. And you see girls who are just like, I got to buy the new thing to make my skin better because I'm breaking out or because I'm dealing with this. My wife had to deal with some of that. She would go to dermatologists and they would give her this and give her that to put on her skin. And I was just like, I feel like that's making it worse. So it finally convinced her to just wash your face with water. Trust me, just wash your face with water. And she was like, I stopped breaking out. It's like, yeah, because it's toxic. It's poison. Like, that's why you're not supposed to put it on your skin. So when you have 13-year-old girls, younger, who are starting to put this toxin within their skin, yeah, it's going to age them. It's going to ruin their skin.
Retinol. A lot of them are using products that have retinol in them that are meant for like 40-year-old women. And that can just it destroys their skin barrier, basically, completely. I'm not a dermatologist, but these are things that we talk about all the time. Spend enough money that is one thing I do is I never wore a lot of makeup. I was very tomboy in high school. I wore pink, but I liked sports and I just wasn't like that. And it's so crazy because I have younger sisters that are a big age difference with me, same parents, but I was the oldest. And watching them grow up and watching how much makeup they all put makeup on better than I do. And I'm like, because I never had to practice putting on makeup at that age. And it's really crazy. And it's because they've always been in front of a camera. I mean, and Snapchat, the reason I'm against it is young girls are sending nudes and they young boys are asking for nudes at a young age and they think that the picture goes away. And I watched my younger sisters and all their friends cry over horrible things and all the drama that's happened over Snapchat. And I'm like, God, if Snapchat's still around, when my daughter's at that age, it's either that or an open phone policy of I'm going through your Snapchat. And at any point, if I see anything on your camera, because I know what Snapchat is, how to operate Snapchat. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And what they're collecting on data with TikTok, that's why a lot of people left TikTok. I think there's gonna have to be something that's gonna come about for parents and children. We've talked about this before, I'm sure, but the data and all of this for our kids, we've got to start figuring out something. And tech, they don't want that because it's crazy. We regulate building houses, we regulate all the simple things in our lives. But then when it comes to things like AI and things like blockchain and all these other things, they just want to open door for it. They don't want to talk about laws because then that stops them from growth. That stops the money, the AI bubble. There's a lot of reasons that they don't want to talk about the data and they don't want to talk about the laws around it because truthfully, there aren't a lot of laws around it. And it's why we're seeing a lot of data leaks.
Yeah. I have a slight disagreement. I don't necessarily think that's the reason why there's not regulation. My example goes back to when what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg was in front of Congress, and he has politicians, senators, congressmen, all different types of people asking him basic internet questions. What's an email? How does that function? And it's just like, if these are the people who create the laws to regulate, who don't understand the basics of how the internet works, what in God's name do we think is going to happen when it comes to regulating AI so it doesn't take everyone's job, or regulating algorithms so it doesn't poison our next generation? Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, if we were to be consistent and say that we got to split up the phone companies because it's a monopoly. I mean, there are several tech monopolies that are happening within our country. We just don't call them that. But Google is a tech monopoly. Microsoft is a tech monopoly. We don't call them that. We don't call them that because they don't fundamentally understand how to signify how they're a monopoly. Because Google isn't necessarily making stuff. Like, that's not their primary business. How do we regulate that? Like, how do I say that Google is a monopoly because it has a search engine? Well, search engine is like this thing that exists out in the ether. Like, it's not the same thing as a phone company where there's phone lines everywhere and they can conceptually understand how a phone works and how that territorial takeovers and things like that. So I don't even think they fully understand, even if they wanted to regulate tech, how to actually do it because they don't understand the technology that's involved. And the other thing to kind of go back to the young girls and the problem with girls getting so involved when it comes to makeup and fashion so young, in my opinion, it tells them in subtle ways that they're not good enough. And when it tells a young girl that she's not good enough, and she starts to look for external validation. And so then especially, I grew up without my father. I know what it's like to not receive validation from a male figure. It's different for girls. Girls need validation from their father figure for the very reason, like what you said, because if she has validation from her father figure, she doesn't need to send news to some random boy to feel loved and cared about. She already has that from her father. Her father's modeling the type of behavior that she should want from a potential boyfriend, a potential husband, things like that. But you have a lot of girls and you have a lot of kids, unfortunately. This is the premise of my book, Children Left Behind. We have a lot of kids out there who have absentee parents, absentee fathers, or fathers who are within the home who are disconnected. Might as well not even be living in home because they work long hours and they come home, they say, my job's over, the mom's taking care of the kids, and I'm checked out. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who have that father. And I've talked to some of these fathers who live in regret. One father I talked to who lives in regret because his son killed himself because he was a workaholic. He wasn't there for his kid and he got involved in drugs and ended up killing himself. Right. So there's real consequences to how we manage our children, what we teach them, how much time we spend with them. Because they're going to get caught up in this stuff. They're going to think that maybe my dad doesn't want to be around me because I'm ugly. And I'm seeing all my peers put up makeup because they feel the same exact way. They feel ugly too. And maybe this makeup makes me feel better. And they shouldn't have to do that. An external thing shouldn't have to make them feel better. Right? That's the role of their parents, is to tell them that you're beautiful and you're special because you are. You're my child. That's why you're special. So I see a lot of these different things kind of coinciding. And I think good parenting will help to remedy, or at least not to remedy, but to battle the algorithm, to battle the peer pressure and all these different things. And that's why I try to model for my son as well. So he never really got caught up in the online world. Told him to kind of get off the internet, go out there, get a job. He got a job early, be involved in these things, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are really such good points. I wanted to touch on this whole like comparison thing. I think that's such a dangerous thing about social media for honestly people of all ages and men and women, because I have friends my age who have had really, been depressed over social media. It's just constantly feeding us, comparing ourselves to other people, what other people look like, what people find attractive. And it's like all over the place. There is no so I feel like it really does reinforce this, you're never good enough, and you can never win because it's like, this is beautiful. Like, but not in a way that makes you feel like you're beautiful or right. It's constantly like, or like this person's life looks like this, which isn't even reality. It's like, it's just, this
illusion.
Yeah.
Well, you're setting yourself up to be unhappy because trends come and go. And at the end of the day, you can order all the things you're seeing these people, but by the time you get them and actually have them, they've scrolled on.
Right.
The trends changed again. And so it's just leaving people consistently feeling unhappy, empty, like they're just looking for the next thing. I mean, kids aren't going to want to go to X because, if they're on TikTok, they're never going to see the impressions they see on TikTok. They're going to be like, fuck this, I'm talking to myself, it's really sad.
Yeah. And I think we all feel it, like from whatever age. Like I said, we see it with young people. My clients that were like 16 to 27, male and female, were both saying those kind of things, where even the guys we would have conversations in therapy about, them feeling that way based on celebrities having such and such, or so. And then, like I said, friends my age who she was just like, I have to limit social media. It takes such a toll on me. So, that part is definitely very dangerous. Last other thing about TikTok, I don't know if you guys know, but the U.S. operations now have new ownership. So the U.S. operations are now run by a newly formed American majority company. There's been some interesting conversations and controversies over what is happening, but the business is no longer a majority controlled by the Chinese parent company. Obviously, we know that the app was almost sort of banned in the US, right? And there's been a lot of conversations about that. But currently, users are complaining and accusing TikTok of suppressing certain political content. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but people are saying it. And all I know is I had 2 clips yesterday that got 0 views.
Yes.
And that's never happened to me before, but they're not even political. I'll show you. I have a picture. It's Kevin talking about Snow White. So I don't know what's up with that, but people are saying, I don't know. But
Kevin's probably thinking it should have been Madeline's clips.
I see a really good screenshot.
I like that.
Yeah. What's this about? 0. This was 2 different clips, 0 views. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think it's an algorithmic thing that they're suppressing things. I think it's the change of ownership, because if I post a lot on TikTok, I actually use my TikTok quite a bit. And so one of the things I noticed is copyrighted music went away today too. So I think it has to do with the change in ownership. I don't think it's a suppression thing. I had a post yesterday that right after I posted, I had like 50 something likes and 6 impressions. So mathematically impossible situation. I think it has more to do with the change in ownership than it does. They're actually trying to suppress people, and they're trying to figure out what it looks like going forward, because you had a company that was like looking out for communist China and taking orders from the Chinese government. So what does that look like moving forward when Larry Ellison is in charge of Oracle running the algorithm? I really don't know. And so there's a lot of uncertainty, but I like the fact that Larry Ellison is in charge of that, in terms of like, because most of social media is run by leftists, and to have a conservative behind a platform that I like and enjoy, that's comforting.
But my question is, are there still, because there's keywords that she said, American majority owned, which means that someone is the minority ownership, and what's that percentage of
So
ownership?
what is it? Bytework? What are they called? What ByteDance? Yeah. ByteDance is, they have 19% ownership is what it is. They're retaining 19% ownership, which
Okay.
I see that as just them taking a profit still. I don't think that they're going to be. I think that Oracle is going to be the main one driving the algorithm.
Now, my question is less about the algorithm and more about the back doors to China. If ByteDance is still involved, does that also mean that the back doors of sending information to China still exists?
Yes,
That's
I agree with that. And
Yeah, probably
that's
so.
100%, yes.
and that was ultimately the debate from the beginning. The debate from the beginning wasn't necessarily that it was bad for kids. Like, the debate from the beginning was, this is an operational tool for information gathering by the CCP, and we shouldn't allow this within our country.
But
And now if we're just, go ahead.
that got changed. This was completely about this was definitely I personally believe that they made it about the CCP, but this was never about the CCP. I believe Larry Ellison, somebody of that demographic, somebody from somebody who's Jewish wanted to buy TikTok. It was a known thing. They wanted to make it a China thing. It was an ongoing fight. It was a conversation that was happening in DC 2 years ago. People were talking about it. And now you can see who's running TikTok. And I do believe this was an ongoing plan, and they won. They won the information war on it. This was never about China, because if it was about China, then we wouldn't have let China stay.
I guess so. Right. I guess so. For me, it was about China. I don't want them motherfuckers to know everything about this.
For me, it was about China. But I'm saying for them, they wanted us to believe it was about China. I don't believe they gave a damn whether it was about China or not.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for today, guys. I appreciate you so much. This has been, enlightening as always. Ange, thanks for reposting the stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. You all rock. I appreciate you and your time and all of your knowledge and expertise and opinions and skills and beauty. And
I appreciate when Adam yaps, but AP doesn't apparently. What is he yapping about?
I feel like that's just because AP came late and didn't know what was going on for a second.
Adam is a bright dude, AP, so lay off.
Yeah.
Man.
You want to hear Adam talk as much as possible. You'll learn a lot. Just keep your ears open. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you. Please follow all these amazing people. Jay, Adam, Madeline, you all rock. Thank you so much. And we'll talk very soon. Is there any last things you guys want to say? Any shout outs? The floor is yours.
Check out my Substack.
Yes.
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 Go to my Substack, adambcoleman.substack.com.
When's your documentary come out?
I'll pick a day, but the trailer's gonna come out Thursday. I'll put it on my X Thursday.
definitely repost that.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
congratulations. We will all support, and everybody stay tuned for that. Jay, Madeline, are you guys doing a show tomorrow? I'm like, what day is it? Yeah, tomorrow?
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have anything planned, but I may do one. I'm opening a space as soon as we close this down. So
Oh, all right. We'll follow him there. Let's do that.
come on.
Yeah, let's rate his stream.
There you go.
Do you remember when I didn't know what that meant? I was like,
I didn't
what?
know what it meant either. But yeah.
I was like, whoa, that sounds scary. I don't know.
That one guy was doing it every time you had one, though. That was awesome.
Yeah, Quiet Part Pod does a lot when he's here, so that's nice. Thank you guys so much. You rock. We'll talk soon. Please, like I said, show these guys all the love. Good night. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Also, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the comments and in the chat. It was really nice to see all of you guys represented and interact with you and hear your thoughts. And, we're trying to do a nice mix of topics and content and such because, we want to talk politics and everything that's going on, but it's nice to mix it up too. And we got to do things that are kind of light too and make us laugh and bring some positivity. So we're trying to balance it out with the topics and the content. I'll be back on Thursday. We'll have another Bold Voices live stream on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And after that, guys, I'm taking next week off. I'm going on a little vacation. So I'm really excited. It's been a while. It's kind of been a minute since I went on actual vacation. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, so definitely stay tuned, tune in on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, again, I just appreciate y'all so much. Thank you to everyone who shared and reposted the stream, liked it. And again, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, that would be incredible. Would love it. We'll keep bringing you bold content and you guys keep being bold. And I agree, Tony, it doesn't always have to be political. 100% agree with that. We like to mix it up. I appreciate your kind comments. Common sense. We are trying to bring the common sense. This is true. And again, showing that it's okay, that we can disagree and not always see eye to eye about everything, but we're able to do it in a respectful way and have open dialogue and conversations and hopefully make the world a better place. So thank you guys so much for the love and support. Appreciate you. Stay bold, and I'll see you on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great rest of your night. Good night, guys.